That the red thingy went up on my StreamYard, so that means notification. Well, at least StreamYard just notified, and now I got the YouTube notification, which means the entire nation knows that we are live. So this is a very special episode of VypDrive because this is episode number 50, you all. This is the 50th podcast episode of this podcast, and that's kind of exciting and crazy at the same time because I just started this podcast in January of this year, and I'm already 50 episodes in, which is just amazing. I appreciate you guys rocking out week after week with me on the podcast and things like that. Hello to my people that might be watching on Twitch. We are broadcasting to Twitch tonight as well. So shout out to my people in the YouTube live stream and shout out to the people watching on Twitch. But I got my man GregsGadgets waiting here, and we're gonna have a little chat about life and YouTube and things like that. So let me get into the introduction so I can bring Greg in here. So we have reached a milestone in the life of the VypDrive podcast. That's right, baby. This is podcast number 50, the 50th episode of VypDrive. Thank you to all my listeners for tuning in week after week, hanging and rocking with me on the podcast. But as it is episode 50 tonight, I am bringing in one of the best Apple tech content creators on YouTube, my friend Greg from GregsGadgets. So let's get it rolling, baby. VypDrive, episode 50. Start now. What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about tech, and welcome back to another episode, a very special episode of VypDrive. This is the podcast about tech, hosted by the man about tech. And tonight, as I said in my introduction, I have one of the rising stars in the tech space on YouTube, one of the best Apple content creators on the platform, Mr. Greg of GregsGadgets. What's up, man? How you doing?
How's it going, Viper? Doing good.
Oh, it's doing good, man. We doing good, man. You've been kind of lobbying to be on a podcast, so I'm glad we finally got the time and we
finally happening. Episode 50, a monumental, gotta bring in the best, right?
Got right. You're right. Gotta bring in the best. So where do I begin with you? Actually, you know what? I'm always been curious of something. How did you come up with the name GregsGadgets?
Oh, this is a story.
All right.
You want the true story?
Well, we're on a podcast. You got it. You can't.
Sure. All right. So I started my channel off with the name Greg's Gauntlet. Don't ask me why. I don't know why.
Wow,
Greg's Gauntlet. Didn't even review tech. General channel. I don't know. I upload it. Like, if you go back, I still have these videos up. If you go back, my first video is like, oh, hey, I got like a figure. Oh, hey, I got like an art book. Let me show it to you. I thought I would go into gaming content first, but I never did because the gaming landscape on YouTube, especially during the time when I was thinking about creating a channel, seemed like very bleak. There were like tons of takedowns going down like every day, and it just seemed like a really hard thing to break into. And I love gaming and stuff like that. Well, not so much anymore. I don't play too many games, but at the time I like really liked playing games. But I was like, you know what? I also love tech, and but basically I started uploading a few videos, and as the channel, grew and I started uploading a lot of tech videos, I was like, I don't think the name's a fit. Like, I was growing. I didn't think the name was like anything bad on my growth, but around 2,000 subscribers, I changed the name to GregsGadgets. Everyone had tech in their name, and I'm like, well, my name starts with a G. Why not go with gadgets? That's a little different, So that's how I got the name. I advertised about it too. I pestered all my friends. I'm like, you think this is a good name? You think this is a good name? You think that's good?
I say you've done very well for yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess you kind of answered it. But if you can go into it a little further, what brought you to YouTube? Why did you start making YouTube videos?
Okay. So I've always wanted to kind of like do something in that niche, whether that was, again, video games or technology. Those were both my passions. The main reason why I really got started, though, was because I would watch these videos of other people's takes on stuff. And a lot of the times I just didn't agree. And sometimes they left out information that I would have like included. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just do it myself? There's a lot of arguments I think that could be made for certain products. I don't think they're being portrayed in the way that I would like to portray them. And there's also just other coverage that I would like to see that no one else is doing. So that's why I started the channel.
That is pretty cool. Like I said, you definitely been doing good things in the YouTube tech space.
Yeah.
How long have you been making YouTube videos?
Yeah. I always have to look this up because I like to say I started in 2017 because that's really when I got serious about uploading. I believe the channel's been up there since 2015. So, but I really don't consider it starting out on YouTube because I really was just like put a video up. My first tech video was when I got the original Apple Watch. So that's even before 2015, right? That's
Yeah,
like
that's 2016. Yeah.
no, maybe it is
I think no,
2015.
no, that is,
It was
no.
a
You're right.
weird
You're
launch.
right.
Like, it was supposed to launch in like 2014, but I think it got
Yeah.
delayed. Anyway, the first tech video I really did was the original Apple Watch series. It didn't even have a series, so
Right.
first Apple Watch. I put that video up, like getting ready to start my channel. Yeah, someone put it in the chat, January 5th, 2015. So that's when the channel started. But I put that Apple Watch video up, like getting ready to start my channel. So excited. My next video, Apple Watch 8 months later. So it took me another 8 months before I uploaded
Wow.
another video.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then, yeah.
that kind of brings me into my next question. Why Apple content?
Okay. So if you go back to the history of my channel, it's not even exclusive Apple content as it's not really now. So obviously a majority of my content is focused on Apple. But even back then I was doing like a lot of like Amazon stuff. And that was when I really didn't have like the footing of my channel figured out. And the reason why I focused on Apple so much was because I primarily used Apple devices in my life. So I definitely knew like all the pros and cons. I could speak to a lot of things about Apple products and I was just buying them anyway. You know, it was like no additional cost. Like I was going to get the latest iPhone, I was going to get the iPad, all that stuff because that's what I like to, I like to get like the latest products. Um so it really came down to a focus on Apple content monetary wise because you go out and buy every product, oh my god,
Oh yeah.
your bank account's going to be hurting. And but the main reason was time. At the time when I started, I had a full-time job. So I really couldn't dedicate as much time as I would like to all these different products. So I figured the best way to do it was to kind of niche down a little bit, maybe lean more into the Apple side of it. But that doesn't mean that I would always exclusively do Apple content.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. That is the tricky thing about YouTube, right? You start off in one area, then maybe you get tired of doing content in that particular area, and then you want to venture off and do other content, and it's just that game of constantly trying to figure out what works best for the algorithm and things like that. So this next thing is kind of twofold. So somehow along your YouTube journey, you hooked up with Jonathan Morrison because I think he reached out to you about, or you reached out to him about your Apple Watch story about how you use the Apple Watch to help you lose weight. So let's start with that first.
Okay.
How did it, what happened or what was happening in your life at that time that made you just stop and begin to use the Apple Watch as a catalyst to start losing weight?
So, primarily I was just excited about the technology of the first Apple Watch when it came out. It was a new product category. Like I said, I pre-ordered it. I got it the first day. And as I started using it, it was like the one of the main features of the Apple Watch is the activity. And as I always tell people about the Apple Watch. It's like a lot of people will go, "Well, you don't need that. You could do that on your own." I had a cousin, I won't name names, but when I got the Apple Watch and I was losing weight, and when I was showing like initial progress, I'm like, "Oh, I really owe it to this thing," and they're like, "You don't need that to lose weight. That's ridiculous." Which is true. You don't need any sort of thing to lose weight. It's really simple. Just don't eat as much and move more. It's really not that hard to process. But I think people are really bad at. I think a lot of people are really bad at figuring out are you moving enough? Are you think you might move a lot, but then when I got my Apple Watch, I wasn't filling my rings every day. And when I looked at my step count, I'm like, this seems like really low. I feel like I should be moving around more. So it kind of started from there. I started going on walks just to fill my rings. And then I really got more into health. Obviously, I'm not like a super health nut or anything like that, but like just that movement around like helped me lose a lot of weight.
Yeah, there's one thing that the Apple Watch is good for. It's those dang rings, man. Those rings are pesky, and they always are constantly reminding you to close them and move around and breathe and all this other stuff. I hate the Breathe app. Just me, but I hate it. It gets on my nerve.
I leave it
But
on, but I hate it too.
I hate the. I think we all. If you don't hate the Breathe app on the Apple Watch, you're not normal. I'm just saying. But yeah, the constant reminder to close your rings and it will definitely get you to get up and get things done. But that leads us into the next part here. How in the world did you end up linking up with Jomo for that whole video and piece on your journey or about your journey?
I don't even know at this point. That was a pretty crazy experience. So basically I lost like around like 100 pounds. I was pretty proud of that. I just made a video talking about how I lost 100 pounds, how, I really owed it a lot to the Apple Watch. And all I did was put that video out there, put out a tweet saying, I'm still a small YouTuber, I think, but I was way smaller back then. And I just put it out going, hey, I did this, I did this thing with the Apple Watch. I think I would be like honored if you like shared it basically. Like I was expecting a retweet, just a retweet. That's all I was like expecting. Maybe a like, something like that. That's all I was expecting. And then all of a sudden in my DMs, Jonathan Morrison just contacts me. He's like, hey, that's like a great story. Do you want to come over here and do a video on it? It's like, what? Crazy stuff.
That is cool. So yeah, obviously you went out there and you did the video and linked up with him. So talk about that experience, meeting him and being around him and his crew and shooting that story and video.
Yeah. So just flying out there, getting to meet Jonathan was like a really cool experience. Watching him and like his whole team work was like an eye opener for me. I consider it life changing to where I might want to be one day with like that kind of production. It was like very interesting to see like these like really talented and skilled people work on the types of videos that I'm doing, and you're seeing like, I don't know, like these artists at work crafting a video. Cause like while I was hanging out with them all day, they were working on videos and stuff like that. And I kind of got to see like the process of all that stuff going on. And that was such an interesting experience. But just in general, Jonathan, JD, who also works with everyone on that team was just super, super nice.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going out there and meeting him myself last year. And like you said, just watching Jonathan work, the dude is so meticulous with his edits and everything. Like there's not nothing that he's not checking on to make sure that it's in the perfect spot or it sounds perfect or it fits in perfectly. The dude is the meticulousness that he takes about editing his videos and making sure that everything is in place. It's truly amazing to watch him work. Like the dude is legit. Like that's why nobody can never say anything bad about Jonathan Morrison as long as I'm breathing air. That dude is legit. He's one of the nicest guys in our niche. Genuine AF.
Genuine is the word I would use. I'm sure a lot of people who like not everyone's meeting this guy, but I'm sure people watch it and they go, oh, is that really like him, like being that nice to all these people? Because you watch his videos and like the people he invites to his studio, the people he helps out, probably one of like the kindest people on this platform. And some people might wonder, is that an act?
No,
it is not an act. This
not
is
an act.
The most genuine person I've ever met. One of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, Jonathan Morrison is legit. I tweeted at him jokingly asking if he can give me a shirt from the Apple Park camping because I knew he was going to get invited to the Apple event. And obviously, nobody's invited me to an Apple event, but I wasn't expecting any type of response or anything. So about 5 minutes later, the dude comes in my DMs and asks me, what do you need? And not only does he send me the shirt I asked for, he sent me an entire care package, man. So when we tell you that Jonathan Morrison is legit, we are not BSing. That dude is legit. He is as good as it gets on YouTube in general, especially in the tech space. That dude is legit.
Yes.
So, you just pulled a Viper recently. You started a podcast.
That's right.
And you started a podcast with Travis.
That guy.
Why Travis? I'm just joking before
why
y'all
Travis. I don't
before
know.
y'all go try to start drama. I'm joking. But yeah, how did you link up with Travis for the podcast?
So, back in I guess this year, this year at like the beginning of the year, I tweeted out like, I think I might do a podcast. All this stuff. Never did it. And then, I was thinking like, do I want to do a podcast? Like I'd really want like a co-host. I don't think I'd want to do it by myself. Like you always have like guests on, sometimes,
Right.
Whatever, but it's so much fun when you have someone else to talk to and bounce ideas off of them. Like,
Yes.
do I want to like hunt down guests constantly? Do I want to have like a permanent co-host? So I was trying to like think of all that stuff. Then just one day I was watching one of Travis's streams. Was it you that asked if he was going to start a podcast? Someone said like, are you going to start a podcast? And Travis goes, oh, I'm thinking about it. And I think someone asked him specifically, like, you should start a podcast with like Greg. And I was like, he's like, oh, I might start a podcast. And I was like, I was literally thinking about starting a podcast too. And then it just went really fast from there. We're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's try it out.
That's crazy because listening to you two, you guys have some excellent chemistry for just now starting a podcast.
Okay. Yeah. That's
like usually it takes like years for people to like build up that type of chemistry, but you guys just have like natural chemistry, which is like amazing, especially in a podcast setting when, like you said, it's a lot better when you have somebody to go to bounce ideas off of and go back and forth with, and you guys just make it sound so effortless and natural, and it's a joy to listen to for real.
Oh, thank you so much.
No problem, man. So the podcast, is it just like a tech podcast in general, or are you guys tackling everything, or how is it going to go?
The main focus is tech. Now, in the beginning, we usually banter like back and forth between our personal life. But the main topics of the podcast are tech and everything that envelops the tech world. Now, there are also other times that we kind of talk about the creative process of both being YouTubers and kind of like the struggles and challenges that we have to deal with there. But primarily, it's called Gadget Cast. So yes, the main topic is tech.
Cool. I think I'm the same way. Like everything I do on YouTube and beyond is usually focused on tech, but sometimes we need to talk about current events and things like that because it's life. I mean, you gotta talk about life sometimes. So
yeah, it's a way to expand. Like obviously, every show is going to have some sort of tech in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a way to expand who we are. And it's a way to kind of talk to our audience and get them to know us a little bit more than you really can't do in a YouTube video. If I'm in a YouTube video telling you personal stories every video, you're gonna be like, what is this?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, people are not coming to YouTube to know about your personal life. Most of the time, they don't care. But like you said, that's stuff that you can definitely put in a podcast because it adds more substance to a podcast.
Exactly.
And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really have a place in a YouTube video. So I would definitely agree with you about that. Let's see. Oh, so we just had Black Friday. Did you get anything, Greg?
I did.
What you get?
I got 2 of those Elgato key lights for they're like $150. I got 2 of those. One's right behind me.
Okay.
I have one lighting me now, but I actually just set that up and I'm still figuring it out. So I got 2 of those. What else did I get? Oh, I got this shock mount that's on the microphone right now.
Ooh, there you go.
I got some other stuff, but like kind of boring stuff. I got some like shirts and stuff like that. Trying to think if there's any other major tech purchase that I got on Black Friday. Oh, yes. A 512 gigabyte SD card. And I love it.
Ooh, well done. Well done.
Yeah. That has been a welcome addition. 10 hours of 4K video.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, I was getting sick and tired of like deleting, like, you know, like you have like some projects you're working on, and then like it's starting to like build up on your card, and it's like, can I delete this one? Am I done with that?
Right.
Yeah, I was getting really annoyed by that. So I'm like, you know what? There was a 1 terabyte card that I like tweeted out, and it was like $300. I'm like, I don't need that much. I'll get the 512.
Yeah, but having that 512 SD card is definitely, especially for creators, that's some good stuff right there,
Yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, 10 hours of 4K, and if you even if you don't want to do 4K, I mean, that how many hours of that at 1080p? I mean, good lord, woo.
I only
Like
shoot
that.
4K because I bought a 4K camera. I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be 4K.
You know, you're better than me because I have a 4K camera. Obviously, I'm shooting this stream on my 4K Sony A7 III, but I am doing most of my content in 1080p because it's just a lot faster, man.
They had the stream link on sale as well, and I regret not picking it up.
The what stream link? What do you mean?
I mean, use like the Elgato 4K cam link.
Yeah.
They had it like $30 off for Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
I
actually,
didn't pick it up, and I regret it.
Actually, I took advantage of that because when my other cam link, I had the 1080p cam link and it was messing up and crapping out on me. I went and I replaced it with the 4K cam link. Now, at the time when I originally brought the 4K cam link, it was at a regular price 130. So, like Greg said, maybe less than a week later, it went on sale for like $99. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I brought it from Best Buy. So I went back to Best Buy. I'm like, listen, can we do a price adjustment since I just brought this and you guys have it on sale for $30 less? But as I got to the counter to do the exchange or whatever, or the price adjustment, of course, Best Buy has this sign on the counter that says between November 24th and December 2nd, we are not doing price adjustments or price matches. And I'm like, what the damn it? So when I get up to the counter, I'm like, so I wanted to bring this back and I wanted to get a price adjustment since you guys have it on sale, but I see the sign here saying that you guys aren't doing that for the week for this period of time. So I'm like, what are we gonna do then? I'm here. Whatever. Do you guys just want me to return it and rebuy it? And I'm gonna do that then if I can't do the price adjustment. And so that's what I ended up having to do. I ended up having to return it and rebar it. So that's what I did.
You think like you could like reason, like they always have like those rigid systems of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, you know, like we don't do price adjustments. It's like, so do you want me to return it and then I'll just buy it from someone else? Yeah, that's all you can do. I've had that situation happen so many times. I'm just like, you guys are like just like making this worse. The worst thing is Amazon. They used to be like really good at price adjustments. They'd price adjust anything after you ordered it. A couple of years back, they changed that policy. They won't do price adjustments unless it's on like a TV. So I would have products that like you buy and they go on like a major sale the next day.
Ooh.
And I contact customer service like, you have an excellent return policy. I will take use of it and just rebuy this. Will you give me the price adjustment? No, there's nothing we can do. All right, I will be returning this and just buying it again. You will be losing money because you will be shipping back and
right.
You don't want to do this. No, we don't want to do the price. Okay.
Wow. I don't understand it. Like, why do you make this harder when it could be so much easier? Just the damn price and move on with your life.
there's a human element missing from it. They just have a rule. I get it. Customer service has to follow the rule, and but there's a big human element missing from it. Although Best Buy does have that policy, I will say when that isn't in effect, when the Black Friday thing isn't in effect, they are excellent at doing a price match on older things that you have purchased. I bought like a MacBook Air from them one time, and then it went on sale like somewhere else, like $200 off, and like I think it was like a couple weeks later, and I said, "Can you do a price adjustment?" And yeah, they just did the price adjustment. I was like, "Great."
Yeah, I got. But I mean, I kind of understand why they had the policy in place for that period of time. I mean, that's right after the week of Black Friday. The store is uber busy. You don't want to be holding up people with trying to make price adjustments and things like that. But they were like when I went over there was nobody even over there. It wasn't even that busy. That would have been like took them like what all of like 2 minutes to make the price adjustment. But dude was like, no, you got to go find another one so you can return it and rebuy. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do that. That's cool. I don't have a problem with this. So we got Trent Marshall in the chat here. He says Best Buy has to legally do that. He said they're going to write it off as a loss and add to sales. So they legally have to price match or something like that. And like I said, it should. I don't know what the big deal is, but whatever. I got like Greg said it. If you don't price match or you don't price adjust, it's getting returned to be brought anyway. Then you're losing money. So what are we doing here? So whatever. So recently you made a leap that I'm hoping to one day make myself.
Mm.
You are now a full-time content creator.
Yep.
How did you get how did you get there, man? How did you get there?
Uh, well, the channel has been doing extremely well. Uh,
Mhm.
I I probably could have done it sooner too, but I'm just like really paranoid and I like to prepare for the worst. So I really want to see like if I could sustain the channel for a year and keep getting, you know, like growth and stuff like that. Because when it comes to my own stuff, sometimes I'm very pessimistic and it's like, is it really gonna last or stuff like that. But yeah, everything went out great. Timing from just some personal stuff with my job and stuff like that. Everything worked out pretty well to where I was able to make the jump to doing this full time. Um, and yeah, I mean, I just started doing it full time last month, so not like too in the weeds. Like I was telling Viper before the show, I am still so behind on work somehow. I thought I'd have all this extra time once I went full time, but I'm still finding ways to procrastinate and be behind schedule. But I will say I can already tell like the quality of life improvement from going full time because you know, there was times where I would be working, you know, you go to work 8 hours, then you come home. Then for me, it would be like I work till I go to bed. Now, do that for like a whole year was basically like my life at sometimes. Like you especially like during like product launches, trying to get out all these videos and trying to cover everything. You know, you go to work all day because you have that commitment and then you have to come home and you're, you know, if people don't think what, you know, it's great to do this full time. I love it and I'm passionate about it, which is why it's so much fun for me. But it is a lot of work and it is very energy draining, especially when you have to be on camera. Some days are like really, when I was doing it full time, if I came home tired and it's like an iPhone launch or something, I know I have to do it. It is hard to get on camera and talk
Mhm.
about this stuff. And you want to do it not only for you, because, you know, honestly, like a lot of the audience is waiting for it. Like my favorite thing when I publish a video is like, I was waiting for your video, Greg. Like
Right,
I
yep.
need your take, you know? So that's like a huge thing for me. And I don't want to disappoint the people who watch my stuff because, you know, let's face it, tech, the type of content we do, it has a time, you know, like it will not be relevant, which
Right.
is unfortunate. Like I think that's like the hardest part about doing tech on YouTube is you could post something if you're like a comedian on YouTube, you post something funny, it should be funny for a while. Like people will go back, they'll rewatch it, you know, stuff like that. When you're in tech, man, there's always something new next week. There's
Yep.
always another story to cover. So that process for me was very draining when I used to do full time, and then now, but now now I do this full time. So it's been good so far, but I haven't done it long enough, I guess.
Man, I got faith in you, man. I think you're gonna do big things on the platform. Like you said, you have been killing it with the channel growth and things like that. Your videos are excellent. You're very detailed and thorough, and you're doing your thing. And you just started a podcast. You were in the thick of it, bro. No doubt.
Yeah, and maybe some more stuff coming soon that I want to work on because now I have extra time to do it. So once I get everything in order, once you know January comes along, I'm sure. I don't know. That's usually like a dead season for me, but we'll see. I mean, I was debating going to CES. I don't know if I'll do it
You're
though.
the wait a minute. So you have the means to go, and you're debating.
Well, I meet the credentials now that they changed it.
No, no, but I mean, but what I'm saying is, you have the financial means to go, and you're debating.
Yes.
God damn it! Oh, I want to go so bad, but I don't have the financial means, and I can't find a sponsor. But you should go, man. Have you ever been before?
No.
You should
Right.
go, dude. What are you waiting for?
We'll see. I really it was like I wish like I knew about it like 2 months ago so I could plan it out a little more. Like I don't like to make like a sporadic decision and this creator change, which I totally agree with. It's great that they did it. The rules are so much way lax. Like you had to have like 1 million subscribers before
Yep.
people complain. Like it was ridiculous.
You
Like
realize that people have been getting the CF for years, not worrying about any of that, right? Though.
yeah, I know that, but
Okay.
I think you need
Right.
to have like some sort of connection, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably, but yeah.
I don't have,
Or you could just go on that general admission too, what a lot of
but
people were
I
doing.
don't know if you'd get the same level of access covering it as a press. You know,
Right.
I think you get a little more access and stuff like that, and you can make a little more connections that way, which is why I'd like to go to cover the stuff. I'm sure as a general consumer you could do a lot of that too, but I'm sure there's other hurdles.
You should go to CES.
Yeah, I'll talk to Travis. I think he's going. I'm gonna say like, let me just crash in your hotel room.
Hey, Gadget Cat there. Yeah, Gadget Cat every day.
From CES. Come on, Travis. We got
every day, right? So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Amazon starting up their live streaming program or whatever. Are you a part of that, or are you going to be a part of that?
I'm not a part of it. I wasn't approached to be part of it. Obviously, we know a lot of people that are doing it, so they kind of said like, hey, if you're interested, they said like, maybe we can get you an in. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not the live streaming type, as you know. I don't really do live streams on my channel.
That's
I
true.
participate in some of yours sometimes, but
You do.
yeah, hosting the Amazon show. I don't know if I could do it. Like, I don't know if I could sit there all by myself and have all the products come up and be like, all right, so this is a pressure cooker. All right, so you put some mashed potatoes in here, really good. So I don't know if it's for me. It's an interesting move by Amazon's part. I like the expansion there. I wouldn't say never, but right now I'm like I said, I'm behind, so it's an easy thing to say no to.
Greg said, "You know what? It's cute and all, but I got other stuff going on in my life.
Yeah.
That's not priority right now." He said, Greg said, "That's not priority right now."
Yeah.
So we had a podcast 2 days ago, and we talked a lot on that particular podcast, me, you, and Prosper, about this whole Lou Later situation with the Later case.
Yeah.
And unexpectedly, he had been uberly active on Twitter as of late, talking to random people, talking to me, talking to John, talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Since we had the podcast and since he's been tweeting up a storm, has your perspective on the situation changed at all?
I feel bad because I think Lou is taking this very personally, which I don't know if he should be. I tweeted at him today. He was going back and forth and stuff like that. He actually did something which I think is very insulting. He basically said to like Prosser like, oh, yeah, what are you gonna do? Get 17 more people to comment on my video? Like kind of like knocking him for like, like, oh, I have a bigger sub count than you. I think that's like such a bad move to do, Like be gracious, be thankful. Like we all came from zero at one point. You don't have to, just because your numbers are bigger, you don't have to bash anyone. But yeah, the whole situation is just like, I still don't know what to think about it because I don't hate Lou. I like, it's fine. He makes videos. He's very successful. I don't even think the story is going to impact the success of the Lou case. There were already people talking about, the Pataka thing before Prosser put up his video and stuff like that. And before Travis put up his video, a lot of people saw that case and went, that's a Pataka case,
Mm-hmm.
So there was clarification that the audience wanted. There were those people would still be saying that's a Pataka case. He had to clarify that entire situation. I don't know if that happens without front page text video on it. I don't know if he gives that whole live stream where he's talking about his cases all the time. But I'm hesitant to say stuff because I think he is really taking it personally. And what I try to tell him is, you are launching a product. You are launching a product. This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with your channel, whatever. You are launching a product that received a lot of criticism. And that's what happens when you get into this space. If you make a product, expect criticism. Do you like Apple releases so many products? They get criticism all the time. Do you think Tim Cook's not in Twitter responding to people about it? He's not getting upset about it when people are criticizing the product. If you have nothing to hide, if the product is a great product, let the product speak for itself. If people get it and they see that there's a huge quality difference, the Pataka story is going to die in like 2 days. No one's going to care anymore. So that's kind of my issue with it is he's taking it very personally. And I think the questions about his case were justified. Almost everyone looked at that case. I saw you tweet about it. Like the minute that case was revealed, you go, is that a Pataka case?
No, it was funny because I didn't know what was going on at first. Like all I knew is that there was a lot of flack around Pataka, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. So I finally started digging into it a little bit, and I saw his case, and I'm like, did he really just make his own case and rip Pataka off just in broad daylight. That's like robbing somebody in broad daylight, literally. Like, did he just do that for real?
Right. And yeah, it's a tricky situation because like I said this on my own podcast. I said this before everything when people were still digging in the story. I said there is a human element to this. This is a team. These are people who are launching a product. And if you have criticism about the product, you shouldn't bring that criticism to the person necessarily because there are a lot of moving parts in this process. Who knows? Lou could have, wanted to make this case and brought it to the supplier. Maybe the supplier copied the case or whatever. But as the story leaks out more, I think I kind of see what's going on. And judging by Lou's tweets, it looks like he approached Pataka first to actually work with them. And they said no. So he just went to another manufacturer and's like, I think he basically like, I like the style of case. Can we make a case like this? I don't know if, whether you think that's right or wrong. That's up to you to decide.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that. I don't want to get too deep into it because we covered this in the whole podcast.
Yeah.
But the Pataka CEO tweeted that Lou never contacted them at all.
Yeah, it's and criticism where criticism's due. The CEO released like a statement, and then he called like Lou like fat in it. It's like don't do that. That's
I didn't see the part where he called him fat. He did. Wow.
I read the press. It's like, don't do that. Like you had a lot of people on your side, and now you're just going to be petty and name call. Like if you have a case, you have a case. Case.
You did that.
If you have like a legitimate argument and you think he really copied the case, that's fine, but you don't have to go name call the guy.
Even I tweeted on Twitter, I'm like, all right, now this is getting out of hand. Like you said, the CEO getting kind of petty. I'm like, dude, if you're gonna do that, get your goons to do that. You don't need to be doing that. Get your goons to do that if you're gonna do it. What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
But I don't know. Like I said on the podcast, in the long run, this will be forgotten and people won't really care that much. And Lou's gonna make a boatload of money anyway.
I think what happened is good. Like obviously Lou has, he's very upset with it. You can tell by the way he's reacting on Twitter. And maybe that's understandable. I've never launched a product. Maybe if I really believed in something and people were attacking it, maybe I'd get upset too. But I think the story was legitimate. And I think the story, it deserves to be out there. At the end of the day, I always want the consumer to know the most information possible, and then they can make the decision. And I think John and Travis with their videos, especially Travis, he really went to great lengths to not criticize Lou. He basically said, I don't have all the answers, but this is the information we're presented with. And, again, you can agree with the case, you can disagree with it, but you have to understand that there was a lot of shady activity going on before the launch. And that's all that we wanted to cover. And we wanted to get more clarification and answers on. That's it.
Okay. So we covered that. At this point of the dead horse, we're going to move on from that. What I'm about to get into next is going to be uber controversial.
Oh, no.
And I got the perfect person to talk to about this because this is going to be good. So Johnny Ive recently left Apple. Like he's completely gone now. He's not even on the leadership board at Apple no more. They've completely erased his name from the leadership rankings. He's no longer with the company. He's gone. In 2019, Apple has brought out an iPhone 11 Pro Max, 11 Pro that has a thicker body, bigger battery, and a bunch of other refinements that don't necessarily placate to form factor, but function over form. Then maybe a couple of weeks ago, Apple releases a MacBook Pro, a 16-inch MacBook Pro that, again, is thicker. It has a bigger battery, has a lot of tweaks and refinements, has a new keyboard on it, has a lot of tweaks and refinements that don't necessarily placate to form factor, but function. So, Greg, these two events have me thinking something that's kind of blasphemous in the Apple world, but I got to broach it because this is what I do. I'm the captain of Team Apple, even if it's sacrilegious, even if it's blasphemy. As the captain of the team, I got to broach it. Is it fair it fair, Greg? Is it fair for me to say, Greg, that maybe, Greg, just maybe, Apple is better off without Johnny Ive?
Ooh, that is controversial statement.
Woo, I know, right?
There you go.
Mm,
I think it's too soon to tell. That's like the safe answer, right? Like he
okay.
just left. He literally just left. Who knows if he had any involvement with these products? I'm guessing most people would say no. If you believe a lot of the inside reporting, people have said like he's kind of been like checked out for years. The last product he was really passionate about was the Apple Watch and kind of leading that team effort. So, do we know if he worked on a 2016 MacBook Pro? Maybe not. Maybe his responsibilities there weren't even focused on the laptop lineup because, MacBook Pros, they sell great, but if you look at them in comparison to every other Apple product, like an iPhone or even now the Apple Watch is like a huge growth for them, it's not really like their main focus. I think someone like Johnny might be just on like the iPhone team or leading new product launches like the Apple Watch, which, need a new design. Like at this point, you kind of know what an iPhone is. Maybe it's not like the hardest thing in the world to kind of get a new design for. So how much involvement has he had with those products? And again, it depends on what side of the reporting you believe. There's many ways you can spin this. There's the side that says Johnny Ive was focused on making everything thinner and lighter. He's responsible for things like the butterfly keyboard, which has huge disaster
yeah.
bar-wise because you have keyboards breaking left and right for some users. The thermal situation in that MacBook Pro, again, not that great, especially it was fine like when they first got them out, but as like you got like 6-core and 8-core processors, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, the cooling in this just isn't good enough to really run these at full throttle. But it is a very complicated thing because you hear the rumors that he's going to leave and then they announce he's going to leave, and then the same year he leaves, you have a thicker iPhone with like a huge battery in it, which is great. Again, you mentioned the thicker MacBook Pro. I'm trying to think if there's any other products they really revamped this year. Yeah, it's tricky too because you know that products are usually in the pipeline for a long time.
Right.
So I don't know if we really see like the effect of like a post Johnny Ive design philosophy.
But even though products are in the pipeline for a long time, the two that I alluded to they're not like a product that would have been like made like long ago or whatnot. I mean, we've had iPhone for years, we've had MacBooks for years, so these are products that have already been made. There are parts out there for them. The form factor has already been like,
yeah,
the form factor is already out there, so it's not like a brand new product. It's not like these products required a lot of R&D from Apple. I just find it eerily coincidental that when he leaves, these products become a lot more consumer friendly. Now, that's not to say that Johnny Ive made bad products and that he made anti-consumer friendly products, because he made some of the most gorgeous, best consumer products ever. But it does make me wonder, Greg, with his exit and the subsequent release of the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max and the MacBook Pro, could that be because Johnny Ive is out the door now? I mean, I got to ask the question. I mean, it's interesting.
So I think the overall question about whether these products were his fault is something we'll probably never know the answer to, unless someone writes like a tell-all book.
Right.
We'll probably never know the answers to who made the butterfly keyboard or who was responsible for the thinner laptop designs. But I do think it's a good thing that he's leaving, because I think there's been this consensus about Apple design lately that's been maybe not as fresh as some people would like. Maybe, if Johnny really was just focused on new products, those don't come out all the time. So obviously, like the Apple Watch, he did a fantastic job on. If that's the last product he worked on, A plus, like he did a great job with it. But yeah, it is very interesting timing that he leaves and then all of a sudden you get these products where people have complained about iPhone batteries. People have said, just make it a little bit thicker, put a bigger battery in there. That's what we want. People have complained about the MacBook Pro, probably the most out of any Apple product in like the last couple of years. That's probably been one of the worst ones where it's like, I'm a pro user. I don't need the thinnest laptop. If it's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit thicker. That's fine. I just want the raw power of it. But I don't think, I'll say it this way. I don't think we've seen the full like effect of the post Johnny Ive era. I
Right.
think we'll see that maybe this year, but probably like in a couple years as all these products get design refreshes, then we'll see it. Because like I look at a product like I think the best hardware product that Apple makes right now, maybe besides the Apple Watch, but I'd say the best hardware product is probably the iPad Pro.
Mm.
Like a beautiful product. It's like unmatched, like just really solid hardware. Everything about it's like great.
Yes.
But that was made in like 2018. So did Johnny Ive have involvement on that? Because that was, I think, before they announced that he was leaving, and
Right.
that's a really great design product.
And that would have been one of the products that were further down the pipeline. So I'm guessing he definitely had some input with that.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the story, because some people say he's been checked out for years. Like he's just basically been a figurehead that they've been afraid to fire because his name carries so much weight.
Yeah. So Michael Pepper is in the chat talking nonsense for real. I thought I was being blasphemous, but he's really being blasphemous. He said he thinks it was a situation where Ives leaves or Ives let go. I'm sorry. There is no way in hell Apple is firing Johnny Ive. Like, no, you're not doing that. You're just not.
Unless he's not doing his work. Like if it really was like a hampering on the design team, like if because that was the story too, that he wasn't coming to work and stuff like that. He was having meetings at his own house. If that's really what it was, and these products were seeing like like the keyboard was made without enough testing, that could be an issue. But it's so hard. You really don't know the full story. I will say though, I am excited that he's gone. Like not whether it's a good or a bad thing. Johnny Ive has made some of the best design products ever in like the history. Like he'll go down as like one of the greatest designers in history
Ever.
Yeah, even if you think like the last few years of Apple products haven't been all that great, the iMac, the original iMac, like wow, like when that came out, that was like crazy. That like what a beautiful computer. iPad, iPhone, all these things, iPod, like crazy good design record.
Like they will be teaching classes about him.
Yes, absolutely. So, he definitely deserves a lot of credit, but I'm excited to see like, okay, now you have like a clean slate. You have new talent. Like the thing you have to realize about life is like people get older. They kind of get like burnt out at times. And you have like these younger, talented people that are waiting in the wings to kind of take over and kind of give their own direction to products. If Johnny Ive was still there, maybe that talent didn't shine to the surface because you have such a legend like Johnny Ive. Are you going to be bold enough to question his design decision at the end of the day? Like with all the weight he carried? I don't know. That's hard.
Probably not.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. Or I don't know if it's a good thing, but I think it's an interesting thing. Like I'm really excited to see the Apple products that are coming out in like the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be very interesting to see where Apple goes from here now that Johnny Ive is not leading the design team.
I can't wait because the same people that are saying, "Oh, Apple without Johnny Ive, their products are gonna no, the people that said Johnny Ive was the problem at Apple, in 2 years when Apple releases like a new design, they're gonna go, "Oh, Apple can't succeed without Johnny Ive."
Exactly.
Because I like to remind people that I've been in Apple, I've been using Apple stuff since the original iMac. That was the first like Apple product like I really used, that 1998 iMac. I loved it. And I remember back in the day, there has always been the same arguments about Apple products. And this isn't a Tim Cook thing. This has been there since Steve Jobs. People have always said Apple products are too expensive. They have said that since Steve Jobs. And they have also said that Steve Jobs was not an innovator. Even back then, there were tons of Apple critics. It's not new. Like when they say like Tim Cook only cares about money, they used to say the same exact things about Steve Jobs.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Apple is such an easy target for a lot of people because Apple is at the top of the food chain. There is no brand following quite like Apple's, and Apple makes more profit than anybody. So
it used to be different back in the day too.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's tons of Apple users now. Like a lot of people have an iPhone. Like it's not like crazy. And I see Apple Watches like everywhere. Like it's really crazy to see that product, which was like prematurely laughed off. Like it came out like they had like 1 year on the market and like, it's a failure. And now I go walk down the street. I see AirPods in everyone's ears, Apple Watches on everyone's wrists. So it's out there. It's everywhere. But back in the day, Apple products were not popular. The when Steve Jobs came back, he had a lot of like great products that were critically well received, and he started to grow the company back. But you still had a market that was predominantly dominated by like Windows computers, laptops, and all that stuff. So I think a lot of people who bought like a Windows like computer just couldn't understand, why would you go with the product that doesn't sell as well? Why would you go with that product? Everyone's using Windows. What's so bad about Windows and stuff like that? And it's like, you just have to use the product to like understand why. You have to use the software. You can't just look at it. You can't just look. You have to use it, and then it all clicks. You're like, this is why I use it, an Apple product.
Exactly. Yes. As a person who using the Windows computer at work and a MacBook at home, yes, yes. Give me my MacBook every day of the week.
Hey, that was me. Like that was me last month. I had to use a Windows computer every day at work.
Yep. Yeah. We don't like that. We don't like that. Whew. Greg, it's been a pleasure, man.
All right.
Before we get out of here, though, Mr. Greg Gadgets, let the people know where they can find you.
You can obviously find me at GregsGadgets, all one word, no apostrophes or anything like that. Another thing I I spent many hours thinking about when creating the channel name is, do I put an apostrophe? I think that's too much work. Just put it all together. You can find our podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, you obviously like to listen to podcasts. So I'd recommend checking out GadgetCast if you want to follow me on Twitter. I wish I got my branding straight out there, but it's at Gregory McFadden. That's my real name. So you can follow me there as well.
All right. And for those of you all that are listening on audio only, I will have all of his information in the show notes. So check the show notes if you want to follow Greg and all his exploits as he ventures out into full-time content creator status.
Yeah. If you see me like on the street, like begging for money, just don't tell anyone.
Thank you guys for watching in the YouTube live stream tonight. Thank you guys for listening on audio only. If you want to support the podcast, if you're on a live stream here on YouTube, super chats are open. If you don't want YouTube to take 30% of your donation, the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description as well if you want to do that. For those of you all that are listening on audio only, if you want to donate to the podcast, if you want to support the podcast, there will be a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. If you want to become a monthly supporter of the podcast, there is a link in the show notes for that as well. Once again, thank you guys for listening to episode 50 of VypDrive. Oh my God, that just sounds strange to say, episode 50, but 50 episodes in, man, we're still going strong. But I will be back next week with episode number 51. And hopefully you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Got you feel like we just had Thanksgiving not too long ago. So I hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. And we are fastly approaching Christmas. So hope you guys get all your Christmas shopping done quickly, because once the closer you get to Christmas, everything starts getting sold out, and after that it's a wrap. So make sure you're on the lookout for what you want and go get it quick. But until the next time, people, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more.